Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. Today we're going to be talking about where pigs, chickens, and cows come from. You might be surprised, so let's get it cracking. Hey, what's cracking? Darren McDuffie here, alias the Fat Man, because I help you become perfectly healthy and toned. And this video is being brought to you by I'mTheFatMan.com. So I had a little fun on the pre-segment just singing Old MacDonald Had a Farm. I remember singing that song as a kid and how I liked the song just simply because after you said the animal, you got to say the sound that they make. And I always had the illusion when I was singing that song that there was a farmer out there, this guy with this big straw hat on, driving a tractor. He had a bunch of pigs, chickens, and cows in the farmyard, and he was the one who was there to provide our food. And a lot of people still think that. You still have kids who are singing this song today, and they get that same illusion in their head that there's a farmer out there who is actually bringing their food to them. They bringing the food to the grocery store and you get the food from them. But this is not necessarily true. A lot of people are so disconnected from the food and where the food come from that they don't know that what's going on behind the scenes. A lot of the food has been changed into a corporate entity. Like, for instance, you have these big multi-conglomerate corporations who are controlling the food supply. You have places like Oscar Mayer, just different places, and a lot of the small organic places that you could buy the organic stuff from are actually selling out to the larger companies. You can't blame them if someone comes and says that, hey, I want to buy you out for $3, $4, $5 million or even more than that. Who are they not to sell out, and who are they not to want to live that type of abundant life when they do receive that kind of money? Can't really blame them, like I say. But again, we've become disconnected from our food supply. We don't really know where our food is coming from, and people don't place enough emphasis on knowing that food is actually medicine. Way back when, 80, 90 years ago, even 100 years ago, before you were giving a prescription or something like that, you were asked to change your diet, and we were eating a lot more healthy back then. Now, we're not eating as healthy, and we're eating more processed foods, and people are not realizing that the food that we're eating now is anything but medicine. They don't realize the importance of organ meats and different types of things that we need to get vitamins from. Besides that, I wanted to talk a little bit again about feedlots. Now, we used to have this illusion of farms, and now it's become feedlots, and I touched on this. We're talking a little bit about that corporate entities are now using these feedlots. You don't know what feedlots are, just think in your mind that this is this massive structure. For instance, this massive house that may look like a mansion or something like that, and you have tens and thousands of chickens in that particular house. The chickens are not allowed to be outside. They're not allowed to go into their environment and search for their own food. They're actually being raised in cages, and they're not giving a lot of room to move. Now, this breeds a lot of disease. A lot of the animals are not treated humanely. And I know that people out there, this is not a vegan video, but that people out there are concerned about the animals. And if you're going to use the animals for food, I feel as though they should be treated humanely. And a lot of these animals that are in these massive feedlot structures are not treated humanely. So you have these chickens in these big houses, and you have cows who are in these massive feedlots as well, and they're being milked, and some of them are being fattened up for slaughter by giving them corn and soy. Again, it's such a shame that we've become disconnected from our food, and we think that we know where our food comes from, and we have this illusion in our head just simply because we were raised to believe that there's some gentleman out there with a straw hat driving a tractor actually shipping our food to us from a farm, and that's not necessarily the truth. Once you know where your food comes from, you'll be more apt to seek out your local farmers, your farmers in your area, and find out where your food is coming from. Ask the farmer, how does he take care of his cows? How does he take care of his pigs? How does he take care of his chickens? What is he feeding his chickens that might translate into the eggs that you're eating? And a lot of people aren't concerned about that. But when you know that food is medicine, you really want to know how the animals are being treated. I, for one, believe that if someone's using hormones and antibiotics and different things when they're feeding the animals, that's going to translate into me eating and that's going to come in my body. Also, the way that they might be slaughtering the animals, if that animal is constantly under fear, then that fear is going to be in some way transformed into you. So you have to know where your food is coming from. We have this image in our head, again, that we think that they are being raised on a farm, and actually a lot of them are being raised in these massive feedlots. Chickens come from little hatchlings, and by the time they are just wee bitty chickens, they sit in these houses being pumped with hormones and antibiotics until they get bigger, and then they end up on your plate. So again, I would urge you to, at some point, seek out a local farmer and see what they're doing with their chickens and their pigs and their cows. And if you can see that they're treating these animals humanely, see that they're treating these animals properly, then start buying your meat and your necessities from them. A lot of farmers need that help. A lot of small farms are really strapped because they're not receiving the patronage that they're supposed to. Most people just go into a grocery store and pick up a lot of the things that they need without even thinking where it's coming from. When you seek out local farmers and you know what's going on with your food, you get that connection to your food. Some of you might even want to start raising your own animals. If you have the land to do that, I would advise to do that. But again, it gets that connection back that we once had, that our ancestors once had, that knew what it was like to have that connection to our food, know where the food was coming from, what the animal was being fed. And you need to know that, especially you come conscious to a conscious level where you're knowing that food is medicine. Food is medicine, and that you must become connected to your food. It's going to be really important in the future that you become connected to your food. And once you have appreciation for your food, you're less likely to want to eat junk food, because you gain that appreciation from your food, and you want to know where your food is coming from, and you want to know that you're getting the best possible nutrients that you can. So it's been Darren "PhatMan" McDuffie helping you become perfectly healthy and toned. Hope you learned something from this video. Leave me some comments below, and I'll see you soon.